I've gotten requests for an updated makeup tutorial, so I did that for you guys today. I'm just talking through each of the makeup products I'm using while I'm applying them, so you'll hear a little bit more about each of them, and you can find links to everything I mentioned on the blog post. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll find a link to that blog post right below this video. So I'm starting with the Bobbi Brown Face Base. I discovered this product from Andrea Ali. She is a makeup artist and does YouTube videos. I have learned so much from her. This is a moisturizer and kind of acts like a primer. You can see I'm still recovering from very painful blemishes from a protein bar I ate. The whey or the soy in it just completely destroyed my skin. I have very sensitive skin that's very dry, so when I get a blemish, it is red and problematic for a while. But believe it or not, this is actually looking a lot better than what I was dealing with. So I put the Bobbi Brown Face Base on. That's sort of my primer, and then I always do my eyes first. The reason I do this is because if there's any fallout of the eyeshadow on my cheeks, I can just wipe it away. And I've just been doing it like this for years. You don't have to do it this way. This is just the way I prefer to do it. I'm putting nude sticks in putty all over my lid and just using my finger to blend it up a little bit, not all the way to my eyebrow, but just to kind of soften where I had drawn the color on. This is pretty close to my skin color, a little bit darker, more of a matte finish. It sort of acts like an eyeshadow primer to me, but I'm just not going to put another color on top of it. What I will do is dust a little bit of powder on top just to take away some of the stickiness. And then I'm going in with a crease color. This is just a little Sephora eyeshadow. This is called Mocha Latte. It's from the Sephora range at Sephora, and I think you can pop these out and put them in like a larger makeup palette or eyeshadow palette, but I just wanted this color, so I just got the one. I'm using the Sigma tapered blending brush, just pressing it into the shadow, and I'm putting this in my crease area. I'm touching my eye area ever so lightly. I just want a little bit of darkness here without a strong line. You may not be able to tell, but I'm sort of making small circles with this fluffy brush. If you want a more concentrated amount of eyeshadow put on your eye, use a smaller brush. The larger the brush, the lighter and kind of more subtle the color payoff is going to be. I'm using the Urban Decay Glide On Eye Pencil in Demolition for eyeliner, and then I'm just going to use the Sephora Pro Smudge Brush to smudge it out. Just put it basically on my outer corner. And then I'm taking this brush right over top and pulling it in a little just to soften the line, soften the amount of color that's left. This sort of fades it a little. Think of it like a pencil eraser, and thickens the line a little bit without making it too dark. Then I'm going right on top of that with the liquid liner. This is also a brown shade, Mad Max Brown. This is the Kat Von D liquid liner, and I'm just pressing this right where my lashes grow. I'm not trying to make a big line of liquid liner. I just want to fill in any of the skin you might be able to see between my lashes so it looks like a thicker lash line. It's kind of just a cheat trick type thing. Next up is mascara. I'm going to start with Benefit's Roller Lash, and then I'm putting on these Fibers by Cherry Blooms. It's a two-step kit that comes with a liquid mascara type product and then the fibers, but I don't like the mascara that comes with it, so I'm just putting on Benefit's Roller Lash, and then I'll put the fibers right on top of Roller Lash and then finish with another coat of mascara, and that usually does the trick. It's a nice lengthening product. It'll add a little bit of thickness too. It does take some practice, but it makes a big difference in how my lashes look, and I like them to look long and thick, and they aren't either of those things, so I need to use some fibers to help me out. So I've just put Roller Lash on. Now I'm going in with the fibers. You apply it just like you would mascara, but then you have to make sure you seal it with another coat of mascara. Now that my eyes are partially done, we'll move on to the face. I'm using the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. I have 5 and 5.5. They may make a 5.25 that I just didn't see, or it was the wrong tone for me. But what I've been doing recently is putting a pump, like a half pump of 5.5, and then right on top of that, putting a pump of 5. Can you see that's 2 colors? And then rubbing that together and putting it on my face. If I want a full coverage look, I'd use a brush. I don't today, so I'm just using my fingers. What I love about this foundation is that it looks like skin. It looks like real skin. Now I'm using another fave, the Magic Away Concealer from Charlotte Tilbury. This is shade 3, Fair. It comes in this applicator that I hate, because, I mean, this was expensive concealer. It looks terrible. But I just press it under here, and then I'll use my finger to smudge it out. You can also use a concealer brush under your eye, or a beauty blender if you want a more full coverage. A finger, whether you're using it for concealer or foundation, you name it, is always gonna kind of blend the product away a little bit more than a brush or beauty blender would. So if you want fuller coverage, use a tool. If you want lighter coverage or you don't care very much, your fingers are fine. Just do make sure you wash your hands. You don't want to be spreading like bacteria and junk all over your face, oils, that sort of thing. So that's the Magic Away Concealer. It's pretty good. And then I set it with the Laura Mercier Secret Under Eye Brightening Powder with just a fluffy brush. It is a loose powder, and I pick up some of the product and just press it under my eye area. This not only sets my concealer, but it brightens this area as well. And then I never have to touch my under eye area for the rest of the day. And it also looks the exact same at the end of the day that it does when I started. I left my favorite concealer to use for blemishes downstairs, so I'm using an oldie but a goodie. This is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. The shade here I have is NW20. This is a great concealer for blemishes. I also know people that use it for under eyes. My only complaint is that it kind of, it comes out with force from the pump, so I usually have way more than I actually need, so I feel like it's a little wasteful. But the color's really good, and it's good for covering blemishes, which I'm about to do now. So I'm picking up some product with my finger, and I'm just pressing it onto the red areas, and then I'll come back and use my finger as well to blend it so it looks natural, and then set those blemishes with a little bit of powder so they don't budge the rest of the day. Okay, let's get some eyebrows going here. This is the Anastasia Brow Wiz in Taupe. It is a very tiny brow product with a spoolie on the other end for combing through. I'm just using short strokes, starting here and working my way out. I did learn a lot from a makeup artist about how to do my brows, and I spend a little more time on them than I did before I met her, but they still aren't like a, I'm just not gonna spend a ton of time on them. I don't have much of anything, so I need to do something. But I have a handful of different products. When I'm in a rush or I just need something simple, I'll just grab the pencil and just get the job done. After I use the pencil, I'll go through with the spoolie and just kind of comb out right at the front here, like right where I'm working right now. So there's no pencil marks or strokes that you can see, so it hopefully looks as natural as possible. I keep my lower lash line really simple as well. I'm just picking up some of this eyeshadow that I used in the crease, using that same smudge brush and just smudging some color on this lower lash line. I don't really like eyeliner on my lower lash line. I feel like it looks too harsh and kind of drags my eye down, but I do want a little definition. So just using that same shade is mindless. I don't have to think about whether or not the tone is right. It's the same thing. And then just lightly using the brush that I used to smudge out that eyeliner. Then I'll pick up some roller lash again and just use the back of the wand to put some mascara on my lower lashes. Well, I just checked my camera and I'm not sure that any of the last minute or so of my makeup application recorded. So if it didn't, I'll just show you what I did. I used this Charlotte Tilbury palette. This is a finishing powder, blush, bronzer, contour, all sorts of good stuff palette. I will put links to individual products right below this video if you don't want to get this entire palette or you don't have something like this. But I did use this on my face just now. I'm sorry if you didn't get to see it. I used a smaller brush and put the contour right here along my hairline that way, and then down my jaw and down my neck. Then I used a different brush for blush and picked the pinky blush and put it right here on the apples of my cheeks and just did like soft circles and blended out. And then finally, a part that I don't always do, but this palette is just so dang beautiful, is picked up some of the Glow highlighter and put it on the center of my forehead, down my nose, tops of my cheekbones, and kind of down the middle of my face here as well. I'm not a big highlight person, but I feel like it looks pretty on the skin. Highlighter usually looks pretty. It's one of those things I'm like, I can't be bothered with that. So those are the colors I use. That's what's on my face now, like the rest of my face. So I'll put a link to this palette, but then also individual products below the video if you want to get individual contour or an individual bronzer or something like that. The last thing I'll finish with is this lip product. This is a matte liquid lip by Bare Minerals. The shade is Infamous. It's a great nude. So that's it. This is like a typical makeup look for me. If it's a work day or if I'm doing anything, this has kind of been my go-to lately. Heavy on the mascara, which is not unusual for me, but just a warm, sort of natural looking face, nothing overly complicated or anything like that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel, and then you'll be notified anytime I post a new video.